So,
So David, can you say something? Does it test your sound also on OBS?
Yeah, I'm live.
Okay, I can't
okay.
hear the movements. So wait, just a second. Um, just a second, just to update the sound. Can you talk just a little bit more? 1 2 1 2.
It's
No,
the
just
audio works now, and it's correct.
okay.
Oh,
Now it
perfect.
looks
Yeah,
okay.
it looks okay. So sweet. Then, yeah, what should I say? Welcome, David. Nice for tuning in from Lagos, right? You're in Lagos,
Yeah.
right? Cool. And your talk will be about how to bring ideas to life using Figma, I guess. Is that right?
Yeah.
Sweet. So if you want to screen share and start, then feel free.
Can I proceed now?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, can I proceed now? Can I
Uh, y-
proceed?
Not yet. Let's see.
All right.
I can't see at the screen.
No. Did you share the screen? Did you do the screen share?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Ah, okay. So maybe we can even try to turn off the cameras during the talk, so then there's more bandwidth for the screen
And the
sharing
voice.
and the voice. Is ours running?
Yeah.
All right.
Can you hear everything? When you're ready, just screen
Yeah,
share.
when you're ready, just screen share.
No, it's not yet sharing.
We have internet problem today.
We can't yet see the screen share. Oh yeah, all right.
Just a second now.
Yes, perfect. Yeah, we can see it now.
I can't yet. Just a second. Where do you see it? Evan?
Yeah. So,
I can't. Wait.
can you see this?
Just a second.
Good master.
Yeah, just a second.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, yeah. A quick, a quick introduction about me. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear him there?
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, we can hear you. We just muted ourselves. Sorry.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I just
Yeah.
muted
And you can confirm you can see what I'm sharing, right?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
All right. A quick introduction about me. My name is David Adeleke. I'm from Lagos, Nigeria, and I was actually given two topics to discuss about at first. I think one was centered around how um, how life is like in Nigeria and Lagos generally, and how it relates to work and how it affects work. And I think the second topic I was given also was to discuss about um, to discuss about a more professional topic, which is on Figma. So I picked instead of going the first because the first has lots of problems, and I feel like the world needs more of solutions. And I believe if I'm to pick a topic on Figma, at least you can solve problems. You can at least create solutions for businesses that actually solve problems on there. So actually, I wanted to know each and every one of us by name, but I don't think it's going to be possible like this. Probably I should just continue with uh, what I planned for today. So I plan to talk about auto layouts in Figma, right? Auto layouts. So and how it works generally. So, but before I do that, I would like to also explain how I got to become a UX designer, which is it all started while I was studying in a university. I was studying computer engineering, and I never thought I was going to dabble into becoming a UX designer. And it all began with just having a simple idea to solve a problem
Desktop audio
that we figured out
is
in the
okay.
education system, the educational system basically. Problems caused by individuals, right? Even an institution itself that could affect students and even scholars generally. So most of the problem I found out in the institution were like basic organization structure. Like there's no basic organization in terms of the way the institutions are structured. I said I'm not going to talk more. I'm not going to talk about too much problems today. So ideally, those problems actually affect students in the likes of document organization, documents
It doesn't work.
get missing, and even results are not compiled well. And at some point, your result could even get illegal because we came up with an idea, and the idea was to solve that problem. And I had a mentor then. He works at Google Nigeria, and I told him about this, and I was like, yeah, we could make it work. So, like I said, I knew nothing about UI design generally. I knew nothing about it. So, he told me we're going to be needing wireframes, and we need to I need to make research on my own. I was this person then that I really do not know. I do not really know much about tech then. So I started making research, and I got to I got to I got to know about an app, more like a mobile app, and it was funny because I did something. All I knew I did something, and I sent it to him. And I think the next morning he called me and he was like, "What is this you sent to me?" I saw what you sent in your email, but what is it? And I was like, "Yeah, I did send something." And I was like, "No, I said what you sent something to me because I feel you just it's utterly rubbish." And I was like, "Wow, I spent lots of time trying to make this work," and he said it was utterly rubbish. Then he said, "He's going to give me another week because I wasted his time to learn more." So I got to learn about um, um, a tool called Wireframer. It's a tool for wireframing and sketching basically. So in the following week, I did something. Then I think it was evening. He called. He sent me a text on WhatsApp, and I did not. I was like seeing 4 messages. I couldn't even open it up. So I was I was taking up his papers, but I was not going through his messages. Then I saw David made me proud. Immediately I ran straight to um, his I ran through our conversation and I saw it and I was so happy. So actually, this is what I created. Um, so this is what I created. Basically, so I created that and it was like it works. So we started using that. So nobody should laugh at me regarding this. Just
You're silent, right?
yeah. So this is what I created, and he said I did a good job. That's what he said. And I was so happy. So and everything changed from here. You know, I was so happy, and I started um, working on the project, and we built the product, and the product was available, and we had I think 85 users in the first week, professors and students inclusive, and we got feedbacks, right? We got feedback from professors. They were like, some of the feedbacks we got were like, we they should focus more on the mobile application because the world is going mobile and it comes handy if they could have that particular tool as a mobile app. Then other students and other persons who use the app also give us feedbacks and like um, we should work more on the UI and we should be able to compete out there. And they also give us little more feedbacks on how to actually solve the problem best. So I think the third year went, and I would like to cut the long story short. The third year went, and I was out of school generally. So then I had to reapply to another school. Wanted to study cybersecurity, but I got another course. So getting there, I got to meet new persons, right? New characters. I got to start off on a new slate. And um, I met with developers who could help us implement what was there. So when all those lecturers were talking about implement this, implement that, I was just smiling because they did not know how we got to build the product. I got to build the product using my school fees, right? So that's the topic for another time. So I weighed the option and I was like, why let us work more on the UI since I'm having these ideas. Then I partnered with a friend and we started learning. Right, we're not that good, but we're learning and we're working on how to make the UI work very much. And we're getting few jobs, and from there we're making money. I never knew I could make money through UI. Right, we're making little money, and we're using to support the project. But to cut the long story short, project is currently paused, and now I'm having a much more bigger career in UX design, and I'm pushing my career so far. So that's just about me. That's everything about me regarding my journey into UX proper. Then I think the next thing I would like to talk about is the difference between UI and UX. Lots of people tend to oh, is there any question, please? Before I start jumping off.
Any question? Um, yeah, that was interesting to hear about. If you want, you just can continue. We do the questions in the end.
So, so yeah. So the difference between UI and UX actually. So UI basically is, I would say, it's a subset of UX, right? And UX generally, according to the story I walked you through, you could tell there was a problem, there was a solution, there was a planning that went through it and actually trying to solve that particular problem. So UX generally is, they call it user experience. It's basically going through those process, defining the problem, defining the solution, trying to solve the big problem at large. It's all of getting the information, right? And the UI, like I said, is a subset of UX, where after you fine tune all those information, you get to use your how am I going to put it? You get to use your based you get to use the research you got to design a better product. So there is also one bigger concept called the customer experience. It's also, so these are like lines in the UX space. So they call it customer experience. So from the story I also walked you through, you could tell after we built the product, we got to get customers' feedback and their experience, and they get to tell us how to make things better, how to adjust things, how to do this and how to do that. So both UX and UI, in my own opinion, are subsets of customer experience. Yes, right. They are subsets of customer experience because after you fine tune the whole product and you build the product, you get to get more feedback and you get to go through that cycle again. So that is that. Then I think that's that. So one other thing that I would also like to mention is most developers underestimate what the work of UX designers because they feel like, hey, I need to build this, I need to go, I don't need to waste time, go on the, I need to quickly develop and go straight to the market until their product sends them back to um, um, designing a UX, which is actually nice because at some point you need to bootstrap and you need to work your way before fine tuning and trying to understanding the markets you're you're trying to, or the space you're trying to enter. So what makes a good UI design actually? So I'm so sorry, I did not create any presentation files. Everything I'm saying is just all boxed up in my head, and I'm just talking about them. So what makes a good UI design? A good UI design. A good UI design is actually um, it's simple. It solves problem. But I want to change my screen. To change this. Sorry. So it's simple. It solves problem, and it's direct to the point without having unnecessary clutter. So these are my favorite quotes. We have a user interface is like a joke. If you have to explain it, it's not that good enough. And the second part is design is not just what it looks and it feels. Design is how it works. So you could have a very haggard design, but at some point, design needs to be great. But you could have a very haggard design that actually solves people's problem and it actually works, right? And people are not going to complain about it, right? So that's that. Then I think one benefit of having a good design is you get to your customers get to feel secure in having a good design. A good design sends a message to the user that something is all right, even if it's not right. So that's the way it's like. So um, then to talk about still on talking about what makes a good UI, we have to actually become a good UI designer, you have to master the art of iconography, which is basically the use of icons. You have to master the art of typography and lettering, whereby you get to adjust fonts, you get to adjust your fonts and spacing between your fonts and all the lettering. Then also we have the white spacing, right? Good use of white spacing make your design neat and a little bit much more clearer to your audience. And white spacing basically is just spacing between two contents or spacing around the content. So you should be able to utilize that well to make your design look great. Then I think the last thing up my head is we have um, frames. It's called margins. You should be able to send margins and margins. Margins also it also has something related. It has relation to white spacing. Be able to set your margin, be able to set your spacing and all. It also has something to do with the spacing. So tools, we have basic tools out there that could make that you could use to build platforms. I'm sure the people I'm talking with talking to knows about Figma already. And there are tools like Adobe XD. You could check the Adobe Creative platform to get Adobe XD. You could have Figma.com. Figma. So basically, that's the prototyping tool that makes prototyping easier as it is, because have you get to mess with codes and you get to um, work hands-on codes and to create a more visually appealing prototypes. And also Figma Adobe XD provides all these features, right? But on Figma you get to customize and build generally, and it's going to simulate. It's going to be working like an app, a live app generally. So um, I'm meant to be talking about auto layout, but I felt it. I thought it wise to walk through those process so that you could understand how it works before actually just diving deep into it. So, web generally, like I said, we all know what web is. Web is just in, web is provides information that actually solves people's problem, whereby um, um, you can get the information you need. And web is also a connection of pages where those informations might not be you might one page might not occupy those information, and you get to navigate between pages and pages that forms web. Well, I would like to compare this to Nina's Vanilla JS. And to build web, you have to build a good website, you have to have each component, right? You have one component, two, second component, third component. You could have those components that forms a big um, um, a, that forms a web page like this, right? So ideally, I don't know if I'm I should have asked for permission before using this, but I'm sorry, Nina and Alex, so I'm using this. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's cool.
yeah,
yeah,
awesome.
awesome.
So we
So we
have
have
this is the
this is the
component. You could
component. You
have
could have
different components that are actually doing the same thing that can be reused, right? And this also at the top is a component. So like I said, the use of iconography. These are icons. These are icons. These are icons. These are icons, right? And web page also contains aside the whole typography thing, the font things. Yeah, it contains shapes, talk of circles, rectangles, squares, and the likes. It contains shapes and the likes. So you could consider this as a shape, and you have your icon in it. You could have this also is an icon. So mastering the art of iconography is also nice. Then also colors. You should also know how to use your colors well. Then yeah, the fonts, which are basically typography and all. So that's basically fonts. Is the use of fonts, the use of shapes, the mastering the art of iconography and your colors, and you're good. You're going to be the best designer out there. so so this is Figma. Figma has two options. It has the web version and it has the desktop version. They work the same, right? And I'm going with the desktop version because I'm currently using the desktop version. So now, on a norms, this is what you get. So, like I said, you already know that the web uses shapes already. It uses text, it uses shapes, it uses lines, right? So Figma provides you and all any other UI design tools provides you with the function. So at the top here you have um, the function. So you have the shape tool where you get to use the rectangles, the lines, the arrows. They are all shapes, right? Polygons and other shapes, which I'm going to be mentioning later. So stroke, which is also almost the same thing as shape, using pencil and pen. We have the text, which is basically the fonts and typography. And yeah, that's pretty much that. And we have the plugins where you get to get plugins to use fonts. So I'm going to explain something about this plugin. Regarding plugins, you don't need to start designing icons yourself, right? Designing icons from scratch and the like. So you could just check on plugins and find your favorite plugin out there in the Figma markets and basically just use it and install it. So once you install it, you can use it often and often. So let's say, okay, before we go there, so also we have this section this particular frame and slices. So there's also one more thing I think I omitted, which is device sizes, right? Well, as a UI designer, you have to know your device sizes, but you don't. Most tools out there now solve those problems without you having to start um, um, memorizing the screen widths and heights. They have automatically have those functions out there for you to use, right? Whereby you can easily just pick um, a screen size you need and use it. And at the same time, also, if you know a specific size you want to use, you could customize. I'm going to also explain that later. So, so that's pretty much that. That's all for the top. Then it also has a cool feature where you can share your file or whatever it is you design, where you can share them. Now, anything you create comes to this left-hand side, right? You could see on this page, I have this frame. You can see on timeline, this is a timeline frame, which is basically an iPhone device, right? This is a timeline, and this is filter, right? We have we have them as different functions, right? So you could go to filter and at the same time just drop down and see each content inside that particular frame. Hello. Okay. Okay, so you could go into one frame and find all those things you design. Like I said, it's a little bit complex now, but it's not. There's nothing complex about it. So so once you click on any function here, if it's a frame, if it's a text, or any component, any um, any um, um, any 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 of these selection tools, even if it's text, you get to have so once I select this now, I have more options, the design function on this filter, where I can modify the color, modify different things, and adjust content based on this particular um, 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 section. So I'm going to go to the next page so you can see. So this is a clear canvas. So we're going to be using those tools one by one. So we have frame. So you see, I'm selecting frame. Now I have the options, the frame options, right, to pick from to the right. So I could say iPhone, I could say any other frame. This is the frame I selected. So this is an iPhone frame. I could also go back there and say frame again and maybe pick a desktop. Um, I could say I need a MacBook Pro 16 or probably whatever it is I need. So this is a MacBook frame. So you could have different frames. So you have lots of frames here to pick from. You could have tablet phones frames, have a social media frames where you have dribble shots, where you can design a custom. There are sizes for them already, where you can just pick and just design for a particular platform. You have Twitter, you have Facebook, you have Instagram. So this particular Figma tool is not only limited to designing UIs alone. You can design a logo with it. You can design a social media flyer with it, depending on how good you are. So that's that about friends. So now rectangles. So you could here you have the arrow, the drop down arrow. You could have rectangles. So you could when you select rectangle, you could draw a rectangle. So you have a rectangle. You could go there, draw a line. You have a line, right? You could draw a polygon. So by holding Shift, which I'm not going to be going through that so that I don't confuse people. So so you could draw a rectangle. So on the rectangle, you see, I created a rectangle inside um, my MacBook, my MacBook frame, and I have the rectangle which I created inside it. So if you want to hide it, you can see it's inside the MacBook. Then one other thing. So once you select the rectangle, you have the options to modify the rectangle. Like I said, components of web are just shapes alone, and maybe text and other functions. But once you select this rectangle, you get to once you come here, you see, just highlighting over it, you have the X and Y axis. So upon moving, if I'm to increase this, it moves to the x-axis, right? If I'm to go to y-axis, it goes down to the y-axis as increasing it. If I'm to go up, it's going to be reducing by because that's actually a negative maths, the y and x axis basically. So also by selecting this, you can mix with the corner radius. So you could make a nice subtle button like this, right? You could also select and change the color. So here you could basically change the color and you have a nice subtle black shape, right? Then we have strokes. What more do you want? And that's all. So you could also so that's that about creation of all those shapes. You could create more shapes and more. So I'm going to, instead of wasting too much time, I'm going to come straight to this. So these are basically the components we're going to create in just like this to form a web, a complete web section like this. So I think the first thing we want to create is um, maybe the top, right? The top navbar here. So we're going to copy this. I'm going to go to our, let's call this our playground. Yeah. So and we selected an iPhone 14 Pro to basically make our button. So I'm going to paste this here. So ideally also you can copy anything and also paste in any way you want, right? So I copied this from here by pressing Ctrl C because this is a component, Ctrl C, and I come here and I pasted it, right? So we want to create this frame. This is actually bigger than the actual screen size. So let me see the screen size I used. 428 by 923. So I think that's a more, yeah, it's iPhone 14 plus. Yeah. So I'm going to be moving this inside. So you can also drag and just move. So I'm moving it this way. Now it's sitting right in the box, right? So we have that. So but we need to create this. So the first thing we need to do is now, okay, before doing this, let's create a button, something much more simpler. Let's copy this. We come here and we paste it here, right? Normal copy and paste, right? So now we want to create a button like this, or probably a much more nicer button than this. So it's easier for us to come to the shape tool, create a rectangle, and I create my rectangle. I can set the width and height here, depending on whatever it is I want. I could say maybe I want 60 by, I could say 120 by 60, right? 60. Oh, it's too big. Or I could just adjust it by I just shrinking it this way, right? So we could have this and say this is our button, right? And one other thing we need to do is create this text. We could say, okay, we need to come to the text section. So we say text. I want to create text. I'm creating it into this frame. So I could say hello there. Or we could say button. Yeah, we could say button. And once I type on my button, because it's a text and I can modify the text. So this basically I can modify the text based on the options that are here. So I could say, okay, I don't want this to be so this is the fonts I'm using. I'm using what's this? In Consulta, or I can use any other font. So also you get any fonts you like by going to maybe fonts google.com, and you could have you can pick any fonts you like and you could basically just manipulate. So now here I have the font size. I could tap on this place and say I have medium, semi-bold, bold, and whatever. But I'm going to stick to let's go to medium. Let's use medium. So it's a little bit much more um, medium-ish. So yeah, so also the button text size is a little bit bigger than my 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 rectangle that I created, so I could reduce it to maybe 16, and I could say this is my button, right? I would have an awesome button. So we could come to here, we could come to our shape again, select our shape, and say we want to mess with the color, and say we're giving it this color. So you also have color picker, right? Where you could mess with the color, and also you could do more of gradients. Well, let's use something simple, color. So I could select the color, and we have the button, and we could probably go complete white on our button. Then we have a button created, right? It's as simple as that. But this takes me much more time because it defeats the purpose of the auto layout I'm planning to teach. So now to create something like this, which is also the same, I could move this out and say I just create a test, right, called button, right, called button. What I can do is just I could right click and say go to auto layout. You could use Shift A, so you have the options of also use shortcuts. So you could use Shift A. So once I click on Shift A, right, we have a border around this button automatically instead of creating creating shapes and start messing with the shapes. There are at some point there are times you need to create shapes, right? Well, with this, it's easier for you to quickly um, create a button with this without needing to start drawing and drawing. So with auto layout now, we have this beautiful. So let me ungroup. We have button again. Let's say we have two buttons now, right? So we applied auto layout on this. Let's say we have auto layout. So we have this nice suiting um, um, border around it. Then here we just have only the text, right? Just the text, and this has a border, right? You could tell the difference. So once you add an auto layer, it automatically frames it. So you have frame. So once you can see here, we have two buttons. We have one, we have two under iPhone, right? Two buttons, one and two. One is the default text, and the second is the one we added an auto layout to. So you could see it automatically frames it. So now button with the I don't have the auto layout function here. I'm only having function to adjust the button text. So if I'm to select this now, I have this extra nice function that I can apply on this particular text. So now the text now is inside that auto layout. So it works basically like a flex box, right? Um, for people who do content. So it works mainly like a flex box. So once you select it, you have you've you've uh, you've activated the flexbox on this particular text. And now you can basically have functions to move it to the center, to move it to the top, to move it down, to move it to the upper left, upper right, lower right, lower left, center, down, up, right? You could basically do all those functions. So that's why we have this box. Then also here, basically, hovering over it, you have spacing between items, right? The spacing between items can be now one extra advantage of using this is now if we're to say we have button, right, and we have another text called um, um, let's say auto, right? Now UI design is all about it's more technical in terms of getting your precise spacing, accurate spacing, and mastering the art basically. So now I could say, okay, I want to bring this here, and I'm determining the spacing between it. So I could hold Alt, and I'm having the spacing of 18. I could move it to the left, 16, 16 before I get to 16. So this is actually time wasting, right? So with this auto layout, you could basically become the best designer out there. So now I applied auto layout to this already. So we could just come down. Now auto layout has its own function. So we just come down and say, fill this auto layout and pick a color, and we have the green. As simple as that, without needing to create this shape. So we could also select the text in it. Now the text in it is black, and we could say we give it a white color. Simple as that. We have a button, right? So now we could say we want these to be spaced out, right? We could say we want 32, right? We have 32. Now you see, we have a longer button. So you don't need to start adjusting these and these and these without knowing the sizes, right? You could have 32, you could have 64. You can see we have a more wider button. So now here is the space, you have the horizontal padding. Here we have the vertical padding. So the horizontal padding is the left to right. The vertical padding is the top to bottom, right? And we have here basically the spacing between items, which I have not mentioned yet, which I'm going to mention. So we could select this button, and like I said, once you select a frame, you have the options to um, manipulate whatever it is you want to do here. So once you select it, I want to place it to the center. I could easily say center. So I have my button in the center of the page, right? So if we see it now, you see 127, 126, regardless. So we have the button, as simple as that. So if we want to increase the space of this button, instead of 10, we could say we could have more higher, we could say 16. So our button is a little bit bigger. So that's that about auto layout. So now, the beauty, one other beauty and advantage of auto layout is, now let's compare it to this, right? If we were to increase, let's select this. If we were to increase the size of this, right? Let's say 24. It's not going to take the shape of that button. But now let's reduce this to, like, say 12. So we have a more nicer button. So we could say in the text in between, we could say we're increasing the size. So now look at what happens. Increasing the size makes the button bigger, and it adapts to the shape of that particular the background, the beautiful background we have. So with that, you can easily create a button, play around it, and without needing to create shapes and waste your time and do other stuff. So I'm reducing it to 16. So you have more color 12 button, and also you could probably reduce the size and do other awesome stuff. So that's that about auto layout. Then one other thing you can do is, like I said, you could, let's say we want to make this icon, right? We want to make this icon. This is a shape, right, which you can make. You basically come here and start making the shape. We could say we want to draw a shape using the pen tool. We could say hold shift, come, and we have basically a shape, right? And we could say select the shape because it's a vector shape, and we could say increase. Like I said, you have options over any elements you create. So you could say 2, increase it by 2, and you could basically just reduce it, and you have that awesome shape, right? So now, one other advantage to auto layout is you get to drag and drop. Like I said, once you select this auto layout, you have spacing between items. So this is basically spacing between items. You could just say drag and drop, and it stays there. And you could still reduce it in between, and you have a nice button, right? It stays. So now this is automatically taking the shape of, if you were to look at it, 10 automatically. So you don't need to do the mathematical calculations and start calculating and doing other stuff. So you could just say 16. I want my spacing to be 16, and we have automatically 16 without stress. So instead of mirroring now, you have 16, right? So one other thing also you could do with auto layout is you could yeah, once you select a button, there is this triple dot icon. Yeah, Whereas once you tap on it, you have an advanced auto layout function whereby you could say, now this is currently packed, right? It's currently packed together. Okay, before I do that, let's flex this function. I'm moving this to the back. Okay, the reason why it's not working is because I have spacing of 60-60. Let's make it spacing of 12. Okay, let's just do 60-60. Let's just do 60-50. So now I want this to be spaced out. Now, once I select a button, I go to the advanced layout. The spacing mode is currently packed. I could say space between items. So automatically, it's auto space. It auto spaces your the contents in that auto layout function. So when I say space, automatically it's basically spaced out. But because of this function which I used, now you can see it now. It's automatically spaced out, and you have this. So that's basically that. You could also do other awesome stuff with it. But now let's just move straight into creating something like this so that you could have much more knowledge about it. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it. Let's say we want to create something like this. So the first thing is we have a text. We have two texts actually. We have the first component. We have the second component. We have another component or another element. We have this element, the text element. We have this text element, and we have the link, right? So now we have to create them one after the other. So let's create this first. So you can come and say, okay, let's call it what is it? Um, we call it July 11th, 2022. Right? We have this. I think the fonts I used was basically Poppins. So it's you can say Poppins, so it's Poppins already. So now we need an icon, right? So we can use the plugin to find an icon. There's a particular plugin called Iconify where you can it's going to load now where you can actually get icons. But instead of it wasting our time, I'm just going to use okay. So we have lots of icons. We have material design icons. So you could basically just search for an icon. So you could say date. They have lots of dates icons that you can use. So you can pick one and just drag and drop. Then we have the date icon, right? So now with auto layout now, make this much more usable. You could just select one, select this, and the normal selection using Control to select or Shift to select. You could just select both elements. I'm using Shift to select now. You could select both elements and just do Shift A or right click and just do auto layout, right? You can see it automatically aligns it. It aligns it automatically. So now what happened is, now I'm going to go back again and do it this way, right? So now this, once I right click, I say auto layout, right? Now this, you see these two directions on the auto layout function. One is facing down, this is facing sideways, right? So ideally, once you create a component and you select all those components and you add an auto layout to it, it automatically groups them and applies the auto layout function based on how 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 the structure is like. So this this is facing, if your select is facing the arrow is facing downwards, you could basically just press the horizontal direction. You can see it automatically takes it goes to the right. And here, if you notice, this is a little bit too close to the top. And the reason is one, the auto layout is having an upper right, upper left function. So upon selecting a center now, you have it this way. So it automatically it aligns to the center. So now I can also select it again and say, oh, the spacing is too much. I want a more space. I want a spacing of like 8. So once I select 8, automatically the spacing is like 8. Right? We have 8 already automatically. So we've created the first component. Easy as that. All right. So we could also want to create this same component also. You can ideally copy this and duplicate, but let's go through it again one more time. So we want to create a text. We go back again. We create a text called the time. So we say 07:05 a.m. Right. So we have this. Then let's say we need a time. So I'm not going to be going through that again. So let's say we have this time. Now I select both items using shift. Now I right click, I go to auto layout. Now automatically it aligns it. Auto layout is applied. I have the frame function already. So now I can say go to the right, align center, reduce this to 8. So automatically you have a stable calculations between these two components, right? So now we have created the second component, which is the date and time. So now, like I said, you have to also master the art of colors, right? So now this is a more subtle color I used, but because this is a white background, let's just stick to this default black color. I'm going to also select, I'm going to select my element. I'm selecting the vector in it, which is the clock icon. I'm I'm picking this color because I need to use this color. So now we have two components created, right? All right, let's move this up. So we have these two components created already. Then what's the next thing we need to do? We need to fetch this icon again. So this icon was created by Figma, so we're going to use it. So we have the icon also there. So now we have these two components. I'm going to move them here, right? We have these two components. So now the next thing we need to do is also we need a text, the coding for science. I could easily say um, coding, or let me just copy that so we don't waste time. So it automatically takes the color. I'm going to be switching it back to black, right? So it's not visually all right this way, but going somewhere. So we have coding and science. So we have this also as the header, or probably header. Then we have this as another component, which is basically to explain what happened on the header, or probably to give us more information about the header. So we could say we could duplicate this, right? Control C, Control V. We could duplicate that. There's something about this. The sizing is a bit reduced, right? We could say we could reduce this to like 12, 11, whatever. So 12. So we could reduce to like 12. And also we need the YouTube link. So I'm going to come here to copy it. Yeah, so we have all our components, all our elements ready. We have the first one, we have the second one, we have the third one, we have the actual text, right? So now with auto layout now, look at the way auto layout works. Now we've applied auto layout to this because we wanted it to take this shape, right? So you could also come and say, I don't want it this way, and just press the down button, right? You could have it this way. Are you feeling it? So you could have it this way. You could also select this and say, I want it downwards. So I have it this way. So because I have it this way, I could say go to the right or go to the left. you can see my icon goes to the left and sticks to the left. I could say you to go to the left, it sticks to the left. I could say go to the center, it sticks to center. I could say go to center, it sticks to center. Right? Downward is not going to have any visible um, function because you're not going to be able to see it. So now we have this, so let's leave it the way we want it. This place and then to the center. So now we could select these two elements. So now what happens is you can apply frames on another frame. So let's say we have this function, we have this element and we have this element. So I'm selecting both again, right? And I'm right clicking and I'm saying auto layout. So now this again is grouped together. You can see it's grouped together. Then it has a spacing, and a spacing of 133 in between. So I could do a spacing of 156 depending on whatever spacing I want. So it's taking this shape already, right? So these are auto layouts in auto layout. So we have this, right? So, and don't forget, we can also do an advanced function. We can perform an advanced function on this auto layout. So now this now is they are selected together. So now I can perform the same function I'm performing on one element on both elements. So I can say go down, they'll have them going down. We have go right and we have them going right. We could say come to the center. Now the center is not going to come to center because of this spacing, right? But let's leave it that way. So now one thing we could do is we could say advanced, we could go to the advanced auto layout function and just say space between. So what happens is, even if you're, what happens is it applies auto, look down, look at the difference. If I select packed, I have 156, right, as the spacing. If I'm to select auto, or space between, it's automatically going to apply auto to it. So now I can move this space. Look at it. I can move this, and it's automatically going to take the shape and calculate the spacing for me automatically. Can you see? Without bothering about anything else. So now we have that. So that's that. Bring this down. Now we have two more elements. So you can see we are selecting this both again, and we're applying auto layout again. So now this auto layout now, once you see it, it's facing downward. So if we press the right sign, it's going to the right now. We're going down, we have to down. So now we could say we don't want this spacing of 18. Maybe we're going multiple of 16, multiple of 8. So we could say we want the spacing to be like 12 or maybe 10 or 8, as the case may be. I'm sticking to 12. I don't know what I used here. Okay, I used 8 here. So we could stick to 8. Yeah. So we have this component also ready. Then we can say, okay, this is another element we need to join with this auto layout component. So we can say we select this again and select this, right? And say apply auto layout again. So that's just the beauty about it. Apply auto layout again. So now I think there's something wrong with this. Okay, there's nothing wrong. It's actually just the size. So we use 13. Here we use 13. So now there's actually something wrong with this. So now this is taking the shape. Now this auto layout now is having, look at the function it's having. It's having glue to the top, but not to the side left. So I could say come back to the left. Now this component we just added is sticking to the left. Now if I say come to the center, it's leaving a space here. You can see it's leaving a space of 5 here. So we could say we don't want you to select that particular frame, grouping it. We could say, okay, come back to the side so that I don't have too much spacing. I don't even need any spacing at all. So I can come here again and say, I need spacing between these components again. I could say, okay, here I'm using I'm using 8. Here maybe I want to use maybe 8 again, or more probably 16. So I could just say 8. right? Automatically, you have all those things calculated for you without needing to stress yourself. So you have this, right? So we have this also done. Now we need to merge it with this again. We need to merge it with this. So we can see, select this, right click, auto layout again. So we have it to the top as design. Then we have our components done, right? So you could do other things like adjust the colors like the way we did this. Don't forget that on the recent auto layout is taking the highest function. So you can come here and just say fill, right? Because this is a component, imagine this component, you can say fill so that we can see what's happening. It's currently taking white shape. Let's pick this color. Now you can see our design is a little bit upward. So let's just quickly change it. I want to copy this color. I want to copy this, I'm pasting it here. I'm pasting it here. Then I use a more color here. I'm going to select both. So you can actually just select that frame and just paste it. So here, I think we did not use medium to make it much more visually appealing. Yeah, we use medium. We have 14. Yeah. So now you can see that they're like, it's sticking to the top too much, right? It does not have enough breathing space, unlike this. Now what you could just do is just select the component again. Right now, here is the mistake we made. This spacing, like I said, we want to create an accurate design. This spacing is like 29. We don't need 29. We need like maybe 16, right, to make it much more nice. So have a more closer design, a more small closer component or element. So now we can select the whole frame, which we applied the black color to it already. And we can say now we want to apply horizontal padding and vertical padding. So we could say on horizontal, give me maybe 32. So I'm aligning to the center. So we have, if you to here now we have 32, here we have 32. Right, we have auto 32 to the right and left, right? And if you don't want it that way, you could basically press this independent patterns. You press it and modify the left and modify the right, the way anyhow you like. And also same thing to the top and bottom. So on the top and bottom, we could say upon selection, I need like maybe 32 also. Now you see it's having a space of 32, 32, a padding of 32. So we could say let's stick to 16, right? Then we have this beautiful component ready for use, right? Then one other thing you can do, remember we have applied auto on this particular layout, on this particular component, right? We applied auto to it. So it's easier for us to just drag this. We want it to take the shape of, let me move this way. It's easier for us to just drag this. Then we have a more nicer, the spacing is too much to the left. We could say, let's adjust the spacing to like 16 on the left. We have this. And also, if you don't like whatever it is, the auto layout is plain, you could come here. So we have more functions here also. You can see it's hogging the content. So it's hogging the content. You could say from left to right, horizontal resizing, I want you to be fixed. So I can adjust you. So I can adjust that the background, right? So if it's on the top, I can also say I want it to be fixed and do stuff. So we have this component ready. So other things you could do is basically just manipulate the color and adjust the color. To copy this and paste. So that's how to use auto layout basically. So I think the next the other component is the button, which I think we did already. Then
yeah, I just that was really amazing to see, like all the features, and I especially love the advanced auto layout. It's really cool. I think because we're now in already like almost an hour, we should maybe slowly also wrap it up. But we maybe need some time for questions, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, okay, just ask questions. Yeah.
I think one thing that came to my mind is like I imagine when you do the whole auto layout for one component, you can probably export the CSS. Is that true? How would that work? Is that easy?
Exporting a whole layout to CSS, right? So ideally, if this component now is created, so to export to CSS, what you could just do is just select this particular component and go to, like I said, you have design. You can go to prototype is an advanced function that you might not need. You could go to just inspect elements. Then you can come down. We have the CSS here. So you can have display flex, which is the display happening here. Flex direction, which is the role. Then we have the padding. We have other functions. Then on if it's a particular, so now on this particular let's say this component, let me move this component out, right? Let's say this particular component, you need this icon, right? You could just select this icon. So you can select this. If you don't want to select, you can come here and say icon. You can see, come here to design, you will see export. Export here. You can just tap export and you can export calendar date. Right? So you can export all these icons just the same way. You can come here also and say you want to export this, come to export vector, right? Or you come to icons, sorry. Then you say export icon. So you can basically export anything using this.
Sorry, David. Now it's me. It's amazing. Like I tried Figma in the past, and of course I didn't know about auto layout, so I was doing everything manually, and it takes forever. So I thought like, wow, how can you do this so fast? Do just like do these things manually so fast. But now I see that there is like a lot of cool tricks that you can use. So this is very amazing to see. Does anyone else have any questions? Yeah, just a second.
Thanks very much. That was really interesting. So I work in a software development team, and so I don't use Figma myself, but I work with some user experience designers who do use Figma, and I wondered, have you got experience with then exporting what's done in Figma into HTML and CSS, and could you comment on the HTML and CSS that it produces if you have?
Yeah, I think if I get your question right, you're saying probably exporting the CSS, right?
Okay, unmute a second.
What? Sorry,
For usage.
someone was talking and I was a bit confused. What did you ask?
I said, what you mean? What you mean? Are you saying exporting CSS for
Yeah.
usage? Can you rephrase the question, please?
Yeah. So, say my interest is generally that that say I have HTML and CSS that I need to build an actual website, having designed it and built all these components or built the layout. What is Figma like for generating HTML and CSS from the design that's done in it?
There is. Okay, I think I get the question now. So ideally, I think there are two. It automatically generates the color. I think there are two things to it. So there are lots of people that want design to be automatically converted to HTML and CSS. I think there's a tool I came across, which I really don't know about. Again, but I'm going to probably send over. But at some point, you can't convert just a component like this and just convert it straight into HTML and CSS. But there's a particular tool that does that, which I'm going to send over later. But if you're to copy the CSS, you have to do it manually because one, you have to say icon, export the icon first. Then basically you could select this and just say inspect. You've seen the color and just use the color. Then you could basically just select each element and see their colors, or just come here and copy them and just modify them. But in terms of auto generating from HTML, both HTML and CSS, there's a particular tool I came across. I think it's a new tool to the market, but I can't really remember their name, and I'm going to share them later. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, this was awesome because we are having another talk in half an hour and have to get ready. I would like to thank you for your time and for sharing this awesome workshop. It was really nice and inspiring. Do you have any last thoughts or words that you want to share?
Nothing really. Thank you so much for listening.
Uh, yeah, I'm also glad that it worked, the connection and everything, because you are on the mobile internet and we are on the mobile internet. So, yeah, it seemed to kind of work. We had a little bit of problems at the beginning, but during presentation it seemed to work pretty well. So
Thank you
thank
so
you, thank
much.
you. Thank you, David. We talk soon because we work together. So we will continue. Thank you very much for your time. See you soon.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
Bye
bye.
bye.